get into the natural. Because, babe, I had to come with the natural hair today. You see the edges? You see side profile? You see it. I know you see it. And I have no makeup on. You see the clear skin? You see that porcelain? You see? Yeah.
Oh my God! Wow!
But anyways, welcome to the Barbie Life 2.0 podcast. I'm your host, Shakira, aka Barbie 2.0. And today I wanted to talk about the downfall of dark-skinned women's careers. Because there are a lot of dark-skinned women in the entertainment industry who had so much potential and they just ruined it. And they really could have put dark-skinned girls on the map, and they really could have opened up a lot of doors and achieved things that dark-skinned girls have never achieved before in the entertainment industry. So it's honestly a big disappointment, and I wanted to talk about it and dissect how dark-skinned girls get treated in the industry and how they are viewed in the industry as well. So the first person I want to talk about is Miss Azealia Banks. Now, Miss Azealia Banks, okay? A lot of people do not like Azealia Banks. I personally love her music, and I think that she's extremely talented. Sometimes she's completely right, and sometimes she's just way off and just trying to be problematic for no reason. But I do think that because she's a dark-skinned girl who's very outspoken and sometimes problematic, people tend to dehumanize her and villainize her and not actually pay attention to her background and where she comes from and how she became to be the woman she is today. So I kind of wanted to give Azealia Banks that moment to be seen and heard and not just viewed as the villain in the industry, okay? So Azealia Banks grew up in Harlem, and she was the youngest of 3 siblings. And her mother and her father had a very toxic relationship. When her mom met her father, she was 14 and her father was 47. So that is a huge age gap. That is like a 30-year age gap, okay? And her father actually died from pancreatic cancer when she was 2 years old. And when her father died, her mother became very abusive. Her mom started mentally abusing her, verbally abusing her, and physically abusing her. She would hit her with baseball bats and even made her and her siblings starve. She would literally take food out of the refrigerator and throw it in the trash so they would have nothing to eat.
Oh, hell no!
And her mom also used to call her ugly all the time and put her down. So Azealia Banks was definitely a victim of Black parents who just weren't emotionally equipped to have children. And this is honestly a common thing within the Black community. A lot of Black mothers and fathers will have children when they are not even mentally stable, and they will put all their trauma on their Black children. And it creates a lot of generational curses and a lot of generational toxicity in the Black family. So you can imagine at a young age, Azealia Banks was going through a lot, okay? Her mom did, however, work a job so Azealia Banks could go to an expensive Catholic school instead of going to the normal public schools in her area. And her mom always told her that she had to be out of the house by the time she was 18. And that's another toxic thing that a lot of Black parents do when they try to tell their kids that they have to be out the house by 18. And I honestly hate when Black parents do this to young Black children, because if you look at other communities allow their children to stay in the house until they're like 25 or 26, and they fully financially support them while they're going through college and allow their children to stay at home and save up money so they can pay off their school debt and so they can build assets for themselves and create generational wealth so their kids and their kids' kids can have a secure future. But unfortunately, in the Black community, a lot of Black parents have this mentality that they don't owe their children anything as soon as they become a legal adult. And honestly, it doesn't benefit our community at all. And it keeps us behind and it keeps us stagnant. And this is a toxic pattern that has contributed to the failure of the Black community. But let's continue. So Azealia Banks started going to a school called LaGuardia, and this school actually allowed her to use her musical talent to express herself and also get away from her toxic situation at home. And she ended up moving in with her sister when she was 14 years old. And her sister was actually kicked out of the house when she was 16 because she was gay. And it was because her mom was extremely homophobic. But because she was living with her sister, who was gay and very active in the gay community, Azealia Banks got introduced to house music. She then dropped out of high school and signed to XL Records and moved all the way to London. But that was a big fail because she just didn't click with the team that she was with. So she moved back home. But because Azealia Banks was so passionate about her music career, she didn't quit. And she then ended up moving to Montreal, and she worked on a song called 212. She then went back home and became a stripper for like 2 weeks, and she said it was not a good experience for her. But then her song 212 ended up blowing up, so she was able to quit. And her career started skyrocketing. She was being recognized by a lot of celebrities, including Kanye West. She also became the new face of Alexander Wang. And 212 was actually included in NME's 2011 Cool List and the top 10 tracks of 2011. After this song became a huge success, she ended up signing a 4-album, $11 million deal with Universal. So at this point, Azealia Banks is one of the top MCs in the game, and she's definitely making a name for herself and also breaking down a lot of doors as a dark-skinned girl entering house music and being one of the best to do it. And you're probably thinking, okay, so if things were going so well, where did we go wrong? Well, Azealia Banks actually had a lot of feuds with a lot of people in the industry, okay? I'm going to read you the list, but this girl beefed with Elon Musk, Iggy Azalea, Cardi B, Remy Ma, Lana Del Rey, Charlie XCX, Action Bryson, Lil Kim, Sky Jackson, Rita Ora, Kendrick Lamar, Pharrell Williams, Erykah Badu, Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, Nicki Minaj, Sia,
2,000 years later,
Jim Jones, Beyonce, Angel Hayes, Lily Allen, SZA, Rico Nasty, Cupcake, Zayn Malik, Mariah Lynn, and entire nations like Ireland, Sweden, and the African diaspora, and also Wendy Williams.
I'm just not ready for all of this. It's just...
So this girl was just beefing with everybody, okay? And she burned a lot of bridges. So even though she was super talented and nobody could really mess with her in the house music industry, she was creating so many bad relationships. And as a dark-skinned girl in the industry, it's very hard to be successful when you create bad relationships because the industry is already working against you because you are a dark-skinned girl. And this just was her downfall at this point. Now, I will admit, there were a lot of times where Azealia Banks was just flat out wrong. Like when she fat shamed Lizzo, or when she body shamed Nicki Minaj, or when she said racial slurs towards Zayn Malik. But I do believe that there were a lot of times that she was just being outspoken and people just couldn't take it because she was a dark-skinned girl speaking on topics that a lot of people didn't want to touch on. When you are a dark-skinned girl who's outspoken and you're speaking on things that a lot of people don't want to come to terms with, you will be labeled as problematic. So I want to highlight the times that Azealia Banks was right because she got a lot of hate at the time for saying these things, but I completely agree with everything she was saying. And I feel like people just didn't want to hear her say it because she was already viewed as that problematic dark-skinned girl who always has beef with people. So there was one time that she had beef with Iggy Azalea and T.I. And she actually called out Iggy Azalea for being a white woman who cosplays as a black woman and reaping the benefits of black culture without actually caring about black people. And this was a time where Iggy Azalea was winning a lot of awards for hip hop, even though she didn't necessarily deserve these awards because there were a lot of black artists who were way more talented and put in a lot more work, and they should have won those awards because at the end of the day, hip hop is black culture. So it felt like a slap in the face when Iggy Azalea was winning all these awards that were really meant for black people to win. So I'm going to play the clip where Azealia Banks was talking about this, because she did get a lot of hate for this, but she wasn't wrong at all. Okay? She wasn't wrong. So let's play the clip.
Okay, so here's the thing with Iggy Azalea. This is the thing. I feel just in this country, whenever it comes to our things like black issues or black politics or black music or whatever, there's always this like undercurrent of kind of like a fuck you. There's always like a niggas, like y'all don't really own shit, like y'all don't have shit. You get what I'm saying? Yes. That Macklemore album wasn't better than the Drake record. You know what I mean? That Iggy Azalea shit is not better than any fucking black girl that's rapping today. Mm-hmm. You know, Grammys are supposed to be like accolades for artistic excellence. You get what I mean? Iggy Azalea is not excellent. You know, I have a problem when you're trying to like say that it's hip hop and you're trying to like put it like up against black culture, like even like, you know, like Nicki Minaj or like Re-Up and Roman Reloaded, like he got Iggy like reclassified. Like you're trying to smudge out, you know what I mean? It's like you're trying to like, it's like a cultural smudging. And when they give these Grammys out, all it says to white kids is like, oh yeah, you're great, you're amazing, you can do whatever you put your mind to. And it says to black kids, you don't have shit. You don't own shit, not even the shit you created for yourself. And it makes me upset. Gotta be the bitter black bitch because I like have something to say about it.
Because you have.
What did she say here that was wrong? Like, she was completely right. Iggy Azalea didn't deserve those awards. Iggy Azalea is a white woman who cosplays as a black woman. Iggy Azalea did reap the benefits of black culture. Like, she didn't say anything wrong. And there was also a time where she got a lot of backlash for calling out Cardi B for being an industry plant. And she was basically saying that the industry used Cardi B so they could take Nicki Minaj down, because Nicki Minaj was a black woman who had complete market share of the female rap industry. And it's funny to me how she got all this backlash when she wasn't wrong. So I'm going to play the clip where she's talking about it.
My theory is that Nicki Minaj for a very long time has had like complete market share of the female rap. And for a very long time, these other music industry execs have been trying to push their female rap products through. You know, you saw Iggy Azalea, and you saw like all these other girls. And Nicki Minaj was just not letting these other corporate white guys get a piece of her fucking pie. So they made Cardi B and launched her. It's not a theory, it's the truth. They made her and launched her on Nicki, and that's just because of this greater white male, like corporate part to the fucking music industry. That's just not gonna they're just not gonna let a black girl have any sort of like power. You know, Nicki had too much like the power, the female rap power was too centralized in one spot. They had to launch something on her to break that shit up. You know what I'm saying?
So what's funny to me is every time Azealia Banks speaks on these non-black women who appropriate black culture and totally reap the benefits of it, she gets backlash. And for me, it rubbed me the wrong way, because it's like, it's the black community coming for Azealia Banks while you guys are defending these non-black women who are literally appropriating your culture. And not only that, but taking your awards and totally reclaiming the meaning of hip hop, because the meaning of hip hop is really to represent black culture. So when you have these non-black people who come in and appropriate our culture and cosplay a black woman, and then they start winning all these awards that they don't deserve, it's a problem. And it kind of does show black children that they don't have shit, not even the shit that they created for themselves. Just like she said, to me, she was right in these instances, and I felt like she was completely misunderstood because she was a dark-skinned girl who was very outspoken. And when you are a dark-skinned girl who's outspoken, you will be labeled as problematic, and no one's going to really listen to what you have to say because they just see you as a bitter woman. But it's really disappointing that Azealia Banks ruined her career, because she had so much potential and so much talent, and she was popping off at a young age. Like, she was getting known around the time she was 20 years old. So it's so disappointing as a dark-skinned girl to see a woman who could have been representing us, especially in the house music genre, and really opened doors for many other dark-skinned girls to come in the industry, and made it possible for dark-skinned girls to achieve a lot of accolades with her talent. But she wasted it on having all these Twitter beefs and burning all these bridges, which is really, really sad. So, yeah. The next person I want to get into is Remy Ma.